Picture this. A lone wolf stalks through the frozen wilderness, its breath visible in the bitter cold air. Above, a murder of crows circles overhead, their black wings cutting through the gray sky. You might think these two species have nothing in common. You might assume they're natural enemies, competing for the same resources. But what if I told you that wolves and crows have formed one of nature's most remarkable partnerships? What if I told you that this unlikely alliance has been helping both species survive for thousands of years? Today, we're diving deep into one of the wild's most fascinating relationships. We're talking about the unseen alliance between wolves and crows. This isn't just another nature documentary story. This is about understanding how two completely different species learn to work together. And more importantly, it's about what we can learn from their partnership. Because here's the thing. Not all alliances are obvious. The strongest partnerships are often the most unexpected ones. When we look at wolves, we see apex predators with incredible strength and pack coordination. When we look at crows, we see intelligent birds with sharp eyes and problem-solving abilities. Separately, they're impressive. Together, they're unstoppable. Scientists have been studying this relationship for decades. What they've discovered will change how you think about teamwork forever. So let's start with the science behind this incredible alliance. In the wild forests of North America, something amazing happens almost daily. Crows and wolves engage in a sophisticated form of communication that benefits both species. It starts when crows spot something from their aerial advantage. Maybe it's an injured deer that couldn't make it through the night. Maybe it's an elk that died from natural causes. The crows know they can't break through the tough hide on their own. They need help, so they call to the wolves below. But this isn't just random calling. Researchers have documented specific crow calls that seem designed to get wolf attention. The crows will fly in particular patterns, almost like they're giving directions. They'll land near the carcass, then fly toward the wolves, then back to the carcass. They're literally leading the wolves to food. When the wolves arrive, they use their powerful jaws to tear open the carcass. This creates access that the crows could never achieve alone. The wolves feed first, as the stronger partners in this relationship. But they don't take everything. When the wolves are done, the crows move in. They feast on the remaining meat, scraps, and organs. Both species get what they need. The wolves get led to food sources they might have missed. The crows get access to meals they couldn't reach on their own. But the relationship goes deeper than just sharing meals. Crows have been observed following wolf packs for days at a time. They act as scouts, using their aerial view to spot danger or opportunity. When crows see something concerning, they alert the wolves below. This early warning system helps keep the pack safe. In return, wolves provide crows with regular feeding opportunities. It's a system built on mutual benefit and trust. Now here's where it gets really interesting. This isn't just instinct at work. Both wolves and crows are incredibly intelligent animals. They're making conscious decisions to cooperate. Crows have been seen playing with wolf pups. They'll drop sticks for the pups to chase, almost like they're playing fetch. Some researchers believe this play behavior strengthens the bond between the species. Young wolves grow up associating crows with positive experiences. Young crows learn that wolves are allies, not threats. This relationship gets passed down through generations. Wolf packs teach their pups to pay attention to crow signals. Crow families teach their young which wolf behaviors to watch for. It's a learned alliance that spans generations of both species. The communication between these animals is sophisticated. Wolves have different body language when they're responding to crow guidance. Crows have specific calls they use only when interacting with wolves. They've developed a cross-species language that works. Scientists have documented over 20 different interactions between wolves and crows. Each interaction serves a specific purpose in their partnership. This level of cooperation between different species is rare in nature. It requires intelligence, adaptability, and trust. And that brings us to our first major lesson from this alliance. Teamwork knows no boundaries. Think about the obstacles these two species had to overcome to work together. Wolves are mammals, crows are birds. Wolves hunt on the ground, crows rule the sky. Wolves work in packs, crows work in flocks. Their entire biology and social structure is different, yet they found a way to collaborate. They looked past their differences and focused on their shared goals. Both species wanted better access to food. Both species wanted to increase their survival chances. Both species wanted to protect their families. These shared values became the foundation of their partnership. In our human world, we often let surface differences stop us from forming powerful alliances. We get caught up in age gaps, cultural backgrounds, or different ways of thinking. We assume that people who don't look like us or think like us can't be valuable partners. But wolves and crows prove this thinking wrong. Great minds don't always look alike, but they often think alike. The crow and the wolf both think strategically. They both prioritize their family's well-being. They both understand that cooperation beats competition. They both value intelligence over brute force alone. These shared values matter more than their physical differences. When you're looking for partners in your own life, don't focus on the surface stuff. Look for people who share your core values. Look for people who think strategically about problems. Look for people who understand that everyone can win when you work together. Age doesn't matter if someone shares your work ethic. Background doesn't matter if someone shares your vision. Experience level doesn't matter if someone shares your commitment to growth. The strongest teams are often the most diverse teams. Different perspectives lead to better solutions. Different skills create more complete capabilities. Different backgrounds provide access to different opportunities. Wolves and crows understood this thousands of years before humans started talking about diversity and inclusion. They proved that the best partnerships cross boundaries. Now let's talk about the second lesson from this alliance. Leverage each other's strengths instead of competing over weaknesses. Crows could spend all their energy trying to develop stronger beaks to break through tough animal hides. Wolves could spend all their time trying to develop better eyesight to spot food from great distances. Instead, they recognized each other's natural advantages. Crows are incredible scouts with sharp eyesight and aerial mobility. They can cover vast territories quickly. They can spot details from angles that ground animals can't access. They're clever problem solvers who can figure out complex situations. They have excellent memories for locations and patterns. Wolves bring completely different strengths to the partnership. They have incredible strength and endurance. They can travel long distances over difficult terrain. They have powerful jaws that can break through the toughest materials. They work together as coordinated units. They're patient hunters who can execute complex strategies. Rather than trying to copy each other's abilities, they combine their strengths. The result is a partnership that's more capable than either species alone. Think about how this applies to your own relationships and partnerships. How often do we try to compete with our allies instead of combining our talents? How often do we feel threatened by someone else's strengths instead of seeing them as assets? How often do we try to be good at everything instead of being great at our natural talents? The Wolf and Crow Alliance shows us a better way. Identify what you're naturally good at. Identify what others around you are naturally good at. Look for ways to combine these strengths instead of competing over them. If you're great at big-picture thinking, partner with someone who's great at details. If you're great at starting projects, partner with someone who's great at finishing them. If you're great at creative ideas, partner with someone who's great at practical execution. If you're great at working with people, partner with someone who's great with technology. The goal isn't to become identical to your partners. The goal is to become complementary to your partners. When crows and wolves work together, they don't become more similar. They become more complete. The crow doesn't try to become stronger. The wolf doesn't try to fly. Each one doubles down on their natural advantages. Each one supports the other's natural advantages. This creates a partnership where 1 + 1 = 3. Your unique strengths become more valuable when they're paired with someone else's unique strengths. Your weaknesses become less important when someone else's strengths cover them. This is how you build truly powerful alliances. Don't look for people who are just like you. Look for people who are strong where you're weak. Look for people who are weak where you're strong. These complementary partnerships are the ones that change everything. This brings us to our third lesson from the Wolf and Crow Alliance. Trust is earned through action, not words. Wolves don't trust crows because crows promise to be helpful. Wolves trust crows because crows consistently deliver value. Day after day, crows prove their worth by leading wolves to food sources. Day after day, crows prove their reliability by providing accurate information. Day after day, crows prove their loyalty by staying with the pack. The trust between these species was built through repeated positive experiences. No crow ever sat down with a wolf and negotiated a partnership agreement. No wolf ever promised a crow that they'd share their kills. The relationship developed organically through consistent actions. Crows started by occasionally leading wolves to food. When wolves benefited from this guidance, they started paying more attention to crow signals. When crows saw that wolves would share the food they helped find, they started providing guidance more regularly. Each positive interaction built more trust. Each successful collaboration led to more collaboration. Over time, this created an unbreakable bond between the species. The lesson for us is clear. Trust builds through consistency and results, not words. You can't talk your way into someone's trust. You can't promise your way into someone's trust. You can't explain your way into someone's trust. Trust comes from showing up repeatedly and delivering value. Trust comes from being reliable when it matters. Trust comes from putting the partnership's success ahead of your own immediate benefit. Think about the people you trust most in your life. Did they earn that trust through grand gestures and big promises? Or did they earn it through small, consistent actions over time? Most likely, it was the small stuff. They returned your calls when they said they would. They showed up when they said they'd be there. They kept confidences you shared with them. They supported you during difficult times. They celebrated your successes without jealousy. These consistent behaviors built trust over time. The same principle applies to building trust in any relationship. Start small and be consistent. If you say you'll do something, do it. If you make a commitment, keep it. If you offer help, follow through. If you share someone's success, mean it. The wolves and crows didn't start with complete trust. They started with small experiments in cooperation. When those experiments worked out, they tried bigger collaborations. When those worked out, they developed a permanent partnership. You can follow the same process in your own relationships. Start by being reliable in small ways. Build a track record of consistency. Gradually take on bigger commitments as trust grows. Always prioritize the relationship's long-term health over short-term gains. This approach takes patience, but it creates partnerships that last for years. It creates partnerships that can weather difficult times. It creates partnerships where both parties feel secure and valued, just like the partnership between wolves and crows. Now let's explore our fourth lesson from this remarkable alliance. Leadership isn't always loud, and you don't need to be in front to lead. When we think of wolves, we often picture the alpha leading the pack charge. When we think of leadership, we often picture someone at the front of the group. But in the crow and wolf partnership, some of the most important leadership comes from above. Crows guide the pack's movements from their aerial position. They influence major decisions about where to go and what to pursue. They provide strategic direction that shapes the pack's success. Yet they do this quietly, without dominance or aggression. They lead through guidance, not through force. They lead through value, not through volume. They lead through intelligence, not through intimidation. This is a completely different model of leadership than what we usually see. The crow doesn't need to be the biggest or strongest to influence the pack's direction. The crow doesn't need to be in front of the pack to guide their movements. The crow doesn't need to be loud or aggressive to get attention. Instead, the crow leads through expertise and consistent value delivery. When a crow signals that there's food in a particular direction, the wolves listen, not because they have to, but because the crow has earned their attention. Not because the crow demanded respect, but because the crow has proven worthy of respect. This kind of leadership is incredibly powerful because it's based on trust and competence. Think about the most effective leaders you've encountered in your life. Were they always the loudest people in the room? Were they always the ones standing at the front? Were they always the ones giving orders? Probably not. The most effective leaders often lead through influence rather than authority. They lead by example rather than by command. They lead by being consistently valuable rather than by demanding attention. They lead by lifting others up rather than by putting others down. This is the kind of leadership that creates lasting change. This is the kind of leadership that builds strong teams. This is the kind of leadership that people choose to follow, not just obey. You can develop this kind of leadership regardless of your official title or position. You can lead from the middle of a team. You can lead from the back of a group. You can lead from the side of an organization. Position matters less than value delivery. Title matters less than trust building. Authority matters less than expertise. Start by becoming incredibly good at something valuable. Become the person others turn to for a specific type of guidance. Become known for consistently good judgment in particular areas. Become someone who makes everyone around them more successful. When you do this consistently, people will start following your lead naturally. They'll seek your input on important decisions. They'll look to you for direction during uncertain times. They'll trust your guidance because you've earned that trust. This is exactly what crows have done with wolves. Crows became incredibly good at spotting opportunities and threats from above. Wolves learn to value this expertise and follow crow guidance. The result is a leadership relationship based on mutual respect and proven value. You can create the same kind of leadership relationships in your own life. Focus on being consistently valuable rather than consistently visible. Focus on developing expertise rather than demanding authority. Focus on helping others succeed rather than making sure you get credit. This approach takes longer than trying to lead through force or position, but it creates much stronger, more sustainable leadership influence. It creates the kind of leadership that people choose to follow. It creates the kind of leadership that makes everyone more successful. Just like the quiet leadership of crows guiding wolf packs to success. Now let's step back and look at the bigger picture of what this alliance teaches us. In nature, the rule is often described as survival of the fittest, but wolves and crows show us that fitness isn't just about individual strength. Fitness is about adaptation. Fitness is about finding ways to thrive in your environment. Fitness is about building systems that support long-term success. A solo wolf can survive in the wilderness. A wolf with a pack can thrive in the wilderness. A wolf pack with crow allies can dominate their territory. Each level of cooperation increases the chances of success. The same principle applies to every area of life. You can succeed alone, but you can thrive with the right partnerships. You can solve problems alone, but you can solve bigger problems with allies. You can achieve goals alone, but you can achieve bigger goals with support. A crow on its own is clever and resourceful. A crow with its flock can coordinate complex strategies. A crow working with wolves can access opportunities that were previously impossible. The partnerships don't just add value, they multiply value. They create possibilities that didn't exist before. They open doors that were previously closed. This is why building alliances should be a priority in your life. Not just any alliances, but strategic alliances. Not just comfortable alliances, but challenging alliances. Not just similar alliances, but complementary alliances. The most powerful alliances are often the most unexpected ones. Look around your life and ask yourself some important questions. Who has skills that complement yours perfectly? Who has access to opportunities that you don't have? Who has perspectives that challenge your thinking in productive ways? Who has networks that don't overlap with yours? Who has experiences that you can learn from? These people might not be obvious alliance candidates. They might come from different industries, age groups, or backgrounds. They might have different working styles or communication preferences. But if they have complementary strengths and shared values, they could be perfect partners. The key is looking beyond surface similarities to find deeper compatibility. Wolves and crows don't look alike, but they think alike in important ways. They both prioritize family and survival. They both value intelligence and strategy. They both understand that cooperation beats competition. They both are willing to work hard for long-term benefits. These shared values make their surface differences irrelevant. When you're evaluating potential partnerships, focus on values alignment first. Do they share your commitment to excellence? Do they share your ethical standards?